Lambertville, Borough of Stockton, and Township of West Amwell, and advertised in the Star Ledger and Trenton Times newspaper. Would you join me for the salute to the flag?
Yes.
I pledge
I pledge
allegiance
allegiance to the
to the
flag
flag of the
of the
United States of
United States of
America,
America, and to the
to the
republic
republic
for
for
which
which
it
it
stands,
stands, one
one
nation,
nation, under
under
God,
God, indivisible,
indivisible, with
with
liberty
liberty
and
and
justice
justice
for all.
for all. We are not going to be asked to participate in any Sondheim musicals anytime soon. But thank you all for joining. Shall we call the roll?
Jennifer Batchelor.
Here. Sorry, here.
John Bonani.
Present.
Martha Dennis.
Here.
Paul Falsigno.
Here.
Gina Fischetti. Brian Keys.
Here.
Aaron O'Leary.
Here.
Ronnie Todd Marino.
Here.
And Michael Strauss.
Here. Well, again, thanks to everyone for joining. I know we have 2 months in a row of doing this. Lots of fun. But I am excited that we were able to get this, even if by Zoom. And it is by Zoom that our student representative to the board is actually able to join us. He is coming to us from a college visit. So, Val, thank you so much for taking some time. We'd love to hear from you.
No problem. Yeah. Should I just start us off right now?
Absolutely.
Yeah, go for it.
Alrighty. I'll hit you guys with the little monthly recap. Apologies if there's any background noise. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
All right. So South Hunterdon, as always, had a tremendous past few weeks, academically, athletically, and also especially in the arts. Recently, winter sports starting to come to a close. Obviously, we've celebrated the past couple weeks, had some senior nights. We had wrestling, we had basketball. We just recently celebrated Connor's 1,000th point, which was great for basketball. Um, not extracurricularly, the clubs have been pretty active. GSA did a lot. They finished off Christmas times. They did the candy sleds, and then during Valentine's Day they did the candy grams, and that raised a lot of money. We did bunt cakes with the clubs. That was the senior class did bunt cakes to raise money for Disney. Peer leaders recently just went down to the middle school to try to raise some awareness for Kindness Week. There was a domino um kind of thing where all the dominoes were cereal boxes, and the boxes got donated to the homeless shelter or just people in need, and like the kids brought in boxes, and there was a whole little pep rally, whatever. It was nice. We did some games and stuff. Another thing I wanted to recognize was the artists of South. They did Festival of the Arts recently. They displayed their work, and there was a whole gallery you could walk through. And coming just this next week, we have Into the Woods, which is the South Hunterdon High School play. So that's something everyone should try to attend. It's gonna be good. Finally, South seniors, myself, preparing to leave for Disney soon, which I'm excited about, and we're just looking forward to a successful end to the third marking period and almost into the home stretch and spring semester. So yeah.
Thanks, Val. Thanks for coming in, especially on a college visit. Have fun at Disney. Go on Guardians of the Galaxy in Epcot. It's
All right,
worth it.
for sure.
Brian, congratulations to both you and Connor as well. I am very excited for that. And I do want to just take a minute before we proceed. For the last 2 months, we've supposed to have our pre-K presentation, and
Our poor
we,
preschoolers.
we are hoping maybe the third time is a charm in March. But I'm also disappointed that our Into the Woods preview was not able to come today, though I did see that they rehearsed via Zoom today. So good luck to them as they make their debut on Thursday. So update from PTO or LAF. I think I saw Megan Sinkus in there.
Yeah, Jeremiah, if you could unmute Megan. Gotcha.
I have to head out. I just wanted to say thanks for having me, everyone.
Yeah, Val, thanks. Have a good
Thank
rest
you,
of your
Val.
trip.
Good night, Val.
Have a good one.
All right, can you guys hear me? I
Yes,
never
we
know,
can.
like
Yes.
mute, unmute, not mute, whatever. So anyway, good evening, guys. Happy snow day. Anyway, just a quick update from the LAEF. We will be having our spring fundraiser on Saturday, March 31st at 6 p.m. at the Amwell Valley Fire Company in Ringo's. It will be casino night again this year. So there'll be casino games, some light food, drinks, a live DJ and dance floor this year. So come out and have some fun. $100 tickets are $100 each. You can get them through our website via laf.org at the events page. So like I said, it's a great opportunity. Again, having some good time fun, adult night out, and meanwhile supporting our students within the community. Also wanted to make an update. We have launched our summer and senior award program. So the applications for both of those awards are available through the guidance department. The submission for the summer awards is March 20th and the senior awards is on April 17th. And then lastly, we continue to seek out folks to join the board, any community members looking to have some fun and while making an impact to, the students within our district. We'd love to have you and love to, continue to increase our board and continue this long-standing relationship that we've had with the school community. So again, you can reach out through their website if you want more information or to contact me or any of the board members through our email, which is info@thelaf.org. Or if you just go onto our website page, laf.org, you can find a lot of information there too as well. And that's all I have for tonight.
Thanks, Megan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Do we have a representative from the PTO?
Don't think we
I'm
do.
not seeing anybody in here. Okay. We'll move on then. So we need to approve minutes from last month's meeting. Can I entertain a motion for that?
So moved. I'll
And a
second.
second? Okay, Ronnie, and then Aaron. So this is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any abstentions? Okay. Then it passes. Okay, we are now going to move on to public hearing, and we are going to hear a report on violence, vandalism, and substance abuse. So this is a mandated report. So Mr. Suzo is going to do that.
Yeah, so basically, we're required to do this report twice a year. You may recall, for those that were on the board, I did this back in November for the 25 or 24-25 school year. This is the mid-year report for 25-26. So this takes into account any forms that we had submitted to the state for issues, as Michael had talked about, with violence and vandalism, HIB, substance abuse, from September to January, and then reporting period 1. And then next fall, I will do the full report for the entire year. So just a little bit of background, and some board members have seen this before. If we have an issue that involves some of these topics that we've discussed, there is a form from the state of New Jersey, the DOE, called the SSDS, the Student Safety Data System Report, that we have to complete and basically put down information, and then they track all this information, and then this is released on their website each year for each school district. So this just kind of gives you an idea for some of the things that we had mentioned for substance abuse, or could be issues of, violence or whatever it may be. Again, some additional information. We do have to provide the offender information, for anything that we report to the state. And then for HIB, whether we have an alleged or if it's a confirmed HIB, we are required to fill out a form as well. and include all the information and background on the HIB report. And again, the offender information is also reported along with the lead investigator for the report. So this just gives you an idea of where we are right now as of today, from everything from September until the end of January. So you can see we have a total of 3 substance abuse offenses, 2 for the high school and 1 for the middle school. We don't have any vandalism. We have 2 violence incidents, both at the middle school. Typically, that's a physical altercation. We do have 1 weapon at the high school. I know when people see that, sometimes obviously it's a red flag. We had an issue with a student actually with a substance offense, and then upon searching their backpack, we discovered a small knife that was in the backpack. It wasn't like there was an intent or anything to use it, but it was in the backpack, which it shouldn't be. So that was actually 2 incidents in 1 for the same student. And then HIB. So we have a total of 7 HIBs so far. We have 6 from the middle school and 1 from the elementary school. And then out of those 7, and we don't have any from the high school, out of those 7, we have 4 that are confirmed for the middle school out of the 7. So this just gives you some trends, keeping in mind the last column is only for reporting period 1 for this year, and the other 3 columns are for the entire school year. So you can see kind of where we had landed with different things in years past compared to where we are now. As part of our programming is concerned, you will notice that a good portion of our programming here has focused on our middle school because that's where our numbers have been the highest so far. But beyond that, just generically throughout the district, we're fortunate that the board has invested in our counseling staff and our mental health clinician and the student assistance counselor, which obviously play a huge role as far as prevention programming. We've partnered this year with Hunterdon Behavioral Health, and we literally just hired our first clinician who started last Thursday. So that's a good thing. We have anti-bullying specialists in each one of our schools. We have school climate teams in each one of our schools. And then we have an SEL committee who last year worked, and you'll hear things like Character Strong because that was one of the big things they focused on, of a character education program that will be implemented in K-8 next year in our elementary and middle school. Hopefully some of you had the opportunity to take advantage of the Max Stossel presentation. We had a student presentation. We also had a parent presentation a couple weeks ago. We had another presentation called Free to Be. It's an anti-bullying program that was actually free from the state, NJDOE, and that was specifically targeted for our middle schoolers. Prevention Resources, which we often partner with. They did some cyber safety and social media work with our middle schoolers. We have Random Acts of Kindness, which I'm hoping in the last couple of days, some things has gone out about that in our various schools. We had Omega Man, who came about character education to our elementary students, which was a big hit recently, which was funded by the LEF, by the way. And then recently we implemented praise referrals at the middle school and the high school, which is really a way of, again, noticing when our students are doing the right behavior and basically, making sure that they are put in the spotlight for that. So we have forms that our staff can fill out if they do notice a student doing something that's positive, and then that student actually meets with the building principal, is presented with the certificate. The certificate is then sent home to the parents, and then putting that information out on social media as well. So we're really excited about that. That's just started a couple weeks ago, and we've already seen that at the middle and the high school. So that is where we are right now with that report. Again, like I said, I will do that report again in full for the entire year sometime in October or November of next year. Any questions from the board before we open it up to public comment for that report?
How long do we have the Max Stossel video available?
That's a good question. It was only supposed to be 30 days, but I actually went into it this morning, and it looks like we're still good because he gave it to us a couple weeks even before the parent presentation. So I think we're good for right now.
Okay. Just in case anyone wanted to avail themselves of that opportunity.
If you have not watched it, I would highly suggest it.
Go going back to slide 6 there, is there a way to get a comparison of the report, the previous years with reporting period 1 only? Apples, oranges, or apples?
Yeah, we could. I mean, I don't have it right here in front of me, but I have it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it is available on board docs from I think it was our
Okay.
March meeting last year. If
Got it. I'll take a look.
interested, or
Yep.
or anyone in public. All right. So we do have to do a public comment just on this report before we go into anything else.
Okay, so members of the public can now address the board on just this particular topic for a maximum of 3 minutes. And as always, we have procedures and requirements when addressing to the board. If a member of the public becomes disruptive during a public meeting, we obviously will mute them within the Zoom meeting. And disruptive conduct, it includes sustained inappropriate behaviors like shouting, interruption, and the use of profanity. So hopefully none of that will happen, but would anyone like to address the board on this matter?
Jeremiah,
Just
you
raise
can
your
see if
hand, correct?
Yeah, we can raise our hand if anyone has.
If you have a
hand.
public comment, please raise your hand.
And we have one public comment online, but I know I looked at it already. It's not in relation to this, so we'll get to that in our next public comment.
Okay, then let's close this period of public comment. Mr. Suso, I know you have a separate superintendent update for the board.
Yes, just a few slides that I wanted to present. Val mentioned it before, but big this week, we have our senior citizens preview for our senior citizen luncheon on Wednesday, and then on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I know kudos to our kids. As Michael said, the weather has been difficult and wreaking havoc on the rehearsal schedule in the last couple of days, which I'm sure it's stressful to not only the kids, but our directors. But they've been working real hard and doing everything they can to be creative. They'll have a good amount of time tomorrow as well. So we're really excited. So for our community, I know it was in Lambertville Matters and some other places. I really highly recommend that you get tickets and come out and check out our kids, because you will not be disappointed. And then something else I just want to put on the radar, because it's coming, Night at the Nest. So for those of you that don't know what Night at the Nest is, and for our board members who may not know what Night at the Nest is, I highly recommend that you attend, if not both, at least one of the 2 nights. It is an opportunity for our high school students who come together in a variety of different activities. There's 2 teams, a blue team and a steel team. They've been working on this for months. There's different games against one another, and it culminates each night in a dance performance. It's just an awesome event and a long-standing tradition for school spirit, bringing students together. So tickets information will go out in the next couple weeks. So it's in our high school gym. So again, I'll just put a plug. If you haven't been there, I highly recommend it, because it's a pretty cool thing to see, and bring your kids as well.
Not easy to get tickets, so be on it, apparently.
Yeah. Yes. So just an update for the sale of the West Amwell School. So good news to report. We had been marketing the building since after winter break, and I'm excited to report out that we have agreed on a sale price of $1.1 million for the sale of the West Amwell School to the Scudder Realty LLC. And we are currently in the process of finalizing a sales contract. So more information to share. I'm assuming by next month. Obviously, the sales contract will be on our agenda for board approval, but this is a positive, and we'll continue to keep you updated as we progress with this process. A few other things, the turf. So the weather has been challenging, as we've learned in the last 24 hours. Our contractor needs about 4 weeks without snow to finish the project. Everything really under the field is done, drainage, all those different things. It's more of just the final grading and then laying the turf. But like I said, we need about 4 weeks to make that happen. So we are working on a contingency plan for the spring athletic season. So our spring athletic season starts on March 9th. So right now, our plan is to move girls flag football to the varsity soccer field. Middle school softball will utilize Hewitt Park like it's done in the past. And then for our middle school and high school track, Jason Miller, our athletic director, communicated with the Soulberry School because they actually have they're on trimesters, so they have a 3-week break. So nobody's using their track from March 9th to the 20th. So it sounds like we're going to be able to use that and bring the kids there. We're just working on getting a certificate of insurance and things along those lines. So that will kind of be our temporary plan right now as we start out with practices and things along those lines. And then we'll kind of see how things play out. I know just looking at the weather, it looks like there might be a chance for a little bit more snow later this week. I'm hoping not, but it's been tough. It's been a rough winter for us. And then just so everyone's aware, hopefully by now you are, but this has been a big topic of conversation, student use of internet-enabled devices. So Governor Murphy, before leaving office, passed a law. Guidance came out from the Department of Education a couple weeks ago. So all school districts are working on developing a policy for the 26-27 school year. For us, just as a reminder, this prohibits non-academic use of internet-enabled devices on school grounds during the school day. This applies to all students in K-12. And when we talk about internet-enabled devices, it means smartphones, a smartwatch, or any other device capable of connecting to the internet and enabling the user to access the internet, including social media apps. It's a bell to bell, so from the start of the school day till the end, including passing time and lunch. So we are working on just next steps. We have a parent focus group, so I have about 15 or 16 parents who signed up to join this focus group. We're actually meeting for our first meeting this week on Thursday via Zoom at 7 o'clock. Our policy company will be coming out with a draft policy before spring break, and then we'll be looking to implement this for 26-27. So there's a lot of work to be done, a lot of logistical things to figure out, which we're working on. But at the end of the day, I do feel strongly that this is going to be a huge positive for our students, for their mental health, for their ability to interact face-to-face, have conversations with one another, and just quite honestly, to get a break from the phone for 7.5 hours when they're with us each and every day. So we'll be continuing to share information from the focus group, as well as when the board eventually brings the policy for a first and second read until eventual implementation for September of 26. And then budget. So we are in budget season. So I just wanted to kind of bring everybody up to speed, kind of where we are in our process. It has been a bit challenging just because, with a new governor, there's been, usually within weeks ago, we would know when is the state budget address going to be, when will state aid figures be released. And it's been kind of constantly changing, and we have struggled, all districts, to get information of what that looks like. But as of today, it looks like the governor's budget address will be on March 10th. What happens is once that address is completed, then our state aid figures are released 2 days within 48 hours on March 12th. Right now, the board has a work session scheduled for the evening of March 12th at 6 p.m. to discuss budget. It looks like our preliminary budget for 26-27 will be approved by the board at the March 23rd meeting and then submitted to the county superintendent by March 30th. And then changes still can be made up to that point. The public budget hearing and the actual final adoption vote will be at our board meeting on April 27th. So there still can be discussions from the time it's submitted to the county on the 30th up through April 27th. So there's a lot of information, a lot of things to consider. Obviously, there's definitely some challenges to, if you're not aware, all districts across the state of New Jersey are dealing with some very significant health benefit increases in Hunterdon County right now. Districts are ranging anywhere between 21 and 35%, which is significant. We're expecting 21, but we haven't confirmed that yet. We're hoping that maybe we'll get better news in the next couple of weeks when we actually get our rates in writing. But you can just kind of do the math and see, as we look at our budget and we take our health benefits, if they are 21%, we take our salaries, based on our collective bargaining agreements. And then we look at a 2% cap as far as what we can raise our budget. We have a shortfall of 740,171, and this doesn't include increased costs. We're all experiencing increased costs for utilities. Electricity has been tough this year. And obviously it hasn't been it's been a cold winter too, which hasn't helped. Just insurance, so not health insurance, but insurance on buildings, liability insurance, programming, any new programming, or transportation costs, and special education tuitions for any of our students who need out of district services. So none of those things are included in the chart above you. So obviously we have our work cut out. We've been working on this for 3 or 4 months, and hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we'll have more information, which will help us, put the pieces of the puzzle together. There is a good possibility that we will have to make some reductions. So we've been working on that and trying to do the best we can to make those happen with staff members that are, retiring or leaving the district through attrition. But again, we'll be sharing more information in March and obviously in April. Okay. Any questions from the board on my update?
Okay, with the lack of that, I think we can move into our first section of open public comment. So members of the public are invited to address the board on any topic in this one. Again, same rules apply, limited to 3 minutes. When you come, please just state your name and municipality. So public comment is now open. Please raise your hand if you'd like to address the board.
Anybody, Jeremiah?
I'm not seeing anybody in chat. No.
Okay.
Okay.
We
Tony,
do have one online. We have 3 online. Okay. Let's see. So let me go to individual responses. So the first one I know because I saw before the meeting it came in, and this is not the first person who's brought this up to me, but is it about the big pothole in the high school parking lot as you approach the exit, and can it be filled? Yes, I was actually there today looking at it. So we do have a plan for the summer to make some paving repairs to both the front and the back high school lot. The challenge right now is obviously with the weather and plowing and everything else. So I did reach out to our director of facilities to see what options, maybe just gravel or stone or something that we could put in that hole just until we get through the snow and into the spring. And then as we get into the end of the year, we will be doing repairs, but I understand it's been difficult and I've heard from several people on that. So we'll try to at least come up with a temporary fix until we can get to the summer. All right. So Andrea Little, West Amwell. Hello. At the last board meeting, a correspondence was submitted by a resident regarding their calculation of costs of the building of the new middle school and renovating the elementary school. The costs were shared at much higher than approved rate of the referendum. When will the public hear from the school on the totality of the costs before the next budget hearing? With the project complete, along with another budget cycle, will the public respectfully hear from the school? Will the administration present this to the 3 mayors and councils along with the general public? With the extent and the cost for the district and the public, it should be mandated to hear that these costs, along with the cost savings per year that we should begin to see, representing the synergies for the elementary grades. In last year's budget, there were several nice to haves representing an increase to the taxpayers. There was also the approval of turf this past year, another budget challenge to compensate for the loss of field space. Additional costs should be shared in totality prior to the budget approvals for the district. And then the last one, same person. Please clarify the date of the budget work session, allowing the community to attend. The website states 3/12 and 3/2 and 3/12. So it is 3/12. This has been a moving target. It's changed because we keep getting different information from the state on when the actual governor address will be, but it is 3/12, and I'll go back and look at the website after the meeting just to make sure. I believe we updated it, but I'll make sure when we're done. And that's all I have online.
Okay, let's just make one more call for those in the Zoom. Anyone else? Okay, then let's close this period of public comment. There will be another one later. We're going to go on to committee reports. And I am actually going to pull double duty and present for curriculum and technology. So we met, Ms. Fischetti is not able to make it tonight. We met on February 11th at 6 p.m. for a rather long meeting. So for technology, Mr. Cifelli was not present because we anticipated it to be a long meeting, and we wanted to pay attention for the rest of the agenda. But Mr. Suzo advised that the district will be ordering new teacher laptops in the coming days, as we are due for a refresh there. Ms. Lennon shared that they had held school-wide data meetings. At that point, it had only been the elementary school. Just to clarify what data meetings are, they are held at each grade level, and it includes the principal, Dr. Miller, Ms. Lennon, and the standards with support teachers, along with the grade level teachers. And they reviewed winter assessment data, which includes iReady benchmark and Linkit data. And the data is used to inform MTSS tiers. I know that that's a lot of speak, but that is basically breaking the kids into smaller groups so that we can better support them. So tier 1 is a group that needs no additional support. Tier 2 gets in-class support, and tier 3 has both pull-out and in-class support. So ELA and math happened at the middle school on 2/12, and then science, I believe, has happened since then, but at the time of our meeting, we had not gotten that. And the high school was happening on 2/17. So the data breakdown in that is that iReady aligns with national and state standards for ELA and math, and it does include MyPath differentiated data. Linkit aligns to state standards for ELA math and then also includes science. That data is used to track student achievement at grade level standards and to prepare them for the NJSLAs. Our administration, this was the subject of a lot of discussion in the meeting, and we are evaluating, along with the staff, the use of each of them, especially at the middle school, where we just had a recent change to the accelerate period. And the committee will continue to track that program efficacy. I do want to just note in there, as much as we're talking about data, that data does include teachers who are in the classroom, and it is used to relate back to each child as an individual. We don't want that to get lost in all of this. We also reviewed the high school pathways program. Mr. Suzo provided an update on how it would look. So all ninth graders are going to get an elective as they come in starting next year of college and career readiness. And that is going to include opportunity to learn about different career pathways. And it will also include a career speaker series, and that career speaker series will be happening during the flex period. So even though it's starting with our freshmen next year, our upperclassmen are going to be able to take advantage of that as well. At the end of ninth grade next year, that freshman class will choose their pathways. There are 4 being offered right now, one of which is an undeclared. And when the incoming ninth graders are juniors and seniors, they are going to participate in 2 20-hour field study placements. And that will involve a student working with a professional in the career field of their choosing. Next year, we are going to bring on a full-time pathway coordinator to run and manage the program. We really see this as something very unique to our district, and it's going to serve our kids in a way of giving them that real hands-on life experience. Ms. Lennon also presented a demonstration of the Character Strong program, the SEL program that was chosen last year by a committee of teachers and counselors. This program focuses on the issues that we actually just saw. So in that report earlier, the board really wants to make sure that the teachers have everything that they can to be supported in this. So this program is going to create a common language and a common way of dealing with behavior and really putting forward good behavior. And it is going to be across grade levels K-8. We also had 2 transitions nights reported on. So the first was 2-5, and Mr. Wright and the counselors presented to those incoming freshmen for next year. And the high school counselors did visit the 8th graders last week to make final choices. The 5th grade parent transition night is scheduled for 3/12. We also got a brief update on the new cell phone law, and Mr. Souza just also reported on that. To us, we are investigating as a board options for implementing that ban. And finally, we had a brief discussion on winter recess. Obviously, this winter has been very, very challenging to get recess in, and there was discussion of how indoor recess was being implemented at the middle school, and they have to take alternating recess days. We are planning a new way of breaking them up, as we didn't feel it was going in the right direction there. And at the elementary school, we obviously are dealing with city land there, so outdoor recess again has been difficult, and we got a little clarification on how it's decided whether they take outdoor recess or not, and the principal does make that decision. We did, as a committee, really talk about outdoor play being preferred, but also making sure that when indoors, that the kids have an opportunity to have some activity and not just be on their Chromebooks. And I think we also know that the basketball court was maintained or was plowed by our maintenance staff, so that we can actually let the elementary school out there. That is it. It was nearly a 2.5-hour meeting, so one of the longest minutes I've presented. So any questions from anybody on that? Okay. Next up is going to be the Personnel Committee.
Mhm.
So Brian, or Mr.
Yes, sir.
Mr.
Brian,
Keys.
I like Brian. That works for me. So the Personnel Committee met on February 18th via Zoom. We went over a couple of the things that were just talked about in a superintendent meeting, including review of the student safety data system incident report and budgeting for 2027 and staffing. And we walked through all the things that we see on our list for approval this evening, including appointments and resignations, leaves of absence, substitute teachers, and extracurricular activities. So with that, I would move to approve items A and B.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Aaron seconds. Okay. Discussion on this. And let's go ahead and take a vote.
John Bonani,
Yes.
Martha Dennis,
Yes.
Paul Falsigno,
Yes.
Gina Fischetti, Brian Keys,
Yes.
Erin O'Leary,
Yes.
Jennifer Batchelor,
Yes.
Ronnie Todd Marino,
Yes.
and Michael Strauss.
Yes. Okay, the Policy Committee, Ms. Dennis.
We met on February 4th via Zoom we have 3 items for first read. All are mandatory and all are revised. The first one is policy 0142.1 on nepotism. Every Board of Education is required to implement a nepotism policy that addresses the requirements in the state statute, and further is a condition of receiving state aid. This is a readoption without material change. We do have a recommendation for some optional text, and that is to include optional language excluding per diem substitutes and student employees who are relatives of a board member or the superintendent from the provisions of the policy. And that the provisions of the policy do exclude the employment of relatives of board members or the superintendent unless you're following the provisions set forth in the policy. Policy 1220, the employment of the chief school administrator. This addresses the executive county superintendent's review of certain employment contracts, including the superintendent's contract. There are technical changes to update certain legal citations. Contemporaneously, the board can choose to revise the recruitment procedures. We have recommended that we go with the first option, which is just to meet the criteria established by the board, as opposed to the more prescriptive option included in the policy. And the last policy for first read is 2422, which is the statutory curricular requirements. The specific mandatory changes broaden the title of this policy from comprehensive health and physical education to statutory curricular requirements, consistent with the language in the CUSAC, the District Performance Report or Review, excuse me. Additionally, the history and contributions of Asian and Pacific Islanders has been added to the statutory requirements. Along with this, guidance has been provided regarding the progress of Mahmoud v. Taylor, subsequent to the Supreme Court decision in June 2025. In that decision, the court granted a preliminary injunction on the grounds that the Maryland School District had not permitted the parents to opt their child out of instruction based on religious beliefs, and that was an unconstitutional burden on their right to free exercise of religion. The case has now been remanded back to the lower court to return a decision consistent with the Supreme Court's conclusions. And while the case works its way through the federal court system, it is recommended that boards work closely with their board attorney to address the requirements of that preliminary injunction. For second read, we have the policy and regulation associated with sexual harassment. These are also mandatory. The current policy and regulation did not address the full scope of the federal regulations. That's now covered. We did make a recommendation for some optional text under the grievance process so that the designated decision maker shall use a preponderance of the evidence standard as opposed to clear and convincing evidence. And also we are abolishing the prior policy and regulation. Lastly, the committee discussed the immigration protocols that are in place. We reviewed the protocol for immigration enforcement. We also asked some questions about how the local police might respond, and also if there had been any guidance from the Attorney General that was provided by the superintendent and is available for any of the committee members should they like to see that. And with that, I would like to move items A and B for approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I'm John on that one. So any discussion on any of this? Okay, let's vote.
Paul Falsigno,
Here, I
Gina Verschetti, Brian Keys,
Yes.
Erin O'Leary,
Yes.
Jennifer Batchelor,
Yes.
John Bonani,
Yes.
Martha Dennis,
Yes.
Bonnie Todd Marino,
Yes.
and Michael Strauss.
Yes. Okay, that brings us to buildings, grounds, transportation, finance, and safety. Ms. Batchelor, I know that you also had a marathon meeting. It is budget season, correct?
Yes. Yeah, we did. We had a lengthy one. So we met on February 19th. Myself, Brian, John, Aaron, Peter and Tony were there. So some of the topics we discussed that are not on anything to be moved on the agenda, but we did do an overview of referendum closeout, going over total costs, change orders, and other related projects that were done in order to complete the referendum. We then went into the budget update. So these two items took up a bulk of our time at the meeting. We went over the overview of the process, where we currently are. We looked at the current projected revenues and costs, that the available information we have at this point, I should say. We talked about the fact that with the transition of governor, timelines are changing and we don't know exactly what that's going to look like. So we would unfortunately at this point be in the position of having to just assume everything stays the same on some of the revenue side in terms of our state aid and things like that that impact our budget decisions. But we will come together as a full board at our work session next in March. And at that point, we'll take a look at where we are with our revenues, our costs, what our budget will look like, and what impact it could have on our 2% cap. We also talked about the LBJ flooring closeout. We've reached an agreement with the flooring company. The company is going to waive an additional payment that was due to account for the handling of the fraud situation with the payment that we made that was intercepted, which was a good agreement to reach and be able to close out that part of the referendum. And then, as Tony mentioned in his update, we do have a buyer for the West Amwell building, and that process is going through the buyer due diligence. And we're hopeful that this will work out and we'll be done and be able to close out that last item. And then in terms of what we have on the agenda before us, we have our normal monthly financial reports. We have contracts. We talked briefly about some of the contracts that are on there, all relating essentially to various student services. We have our field trips, travel expenses, and you will see a resolution for the LBJ flooring settlement that we reached, and the language is available there for us to review. We also have on the agenda is this semi-corrective action plan. So this has to do with federal money and the federal government sort of coming in and changing some rules. The SEMI is a program that is federally funded but state administrated. And then there were changes made to the rules around revenues, and essentially almost every district in the state was provided this corrective action plan that we need to adopt to formalize the changes to the rules and to continue moving forward being a part of that program for that money. And I think that covers us. So I would need to move items A through K.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so I think Aaron was the second on that.
I heard so moved.
Sorry.
Okay.
So any discussion on these? There's a lot there. Okay. Then let's go ahead and vote.
Brian Keys,
Yes.
Aaron O'Leary,
Yes.
Jennifer Batchelor,
Yes.
John Bonani,
Yes.
Martha Dennis, Martha Dennis,
I'm on mute. Yes. Sorry.
Paul Falsigno,
Yes.
Gina Fischetti, Ronnie Todd Marino,
Yes.
and Michael Strauss.
Yes. Okay, school and
So-
community.
Michael, wait, before
Yes.
we move forward, I got an email during this meeting. So when I moved the personnel and extracurricular activities. I guess so. The personnel actions were put on the screen for the screen share, but the extracurricular activities were not. I think at least one person wanted to see what that was.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, perfect. Sorry to interrupt, and thank you.
No worries.
And just as everyone is doing this, all of that is actually available on board docs. So it is available on our website, and you can click in anytime and look at our agenda. It normally goes up the Friday before our meeting.
Good.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, Ms. Todd Marino, sorry,
Okay, that's
school and
right.
community.
Okay. So school and community met on February 19th. Our meeting was not quite as long as everyone else's. We established our committee annual goals. We typically choose goals that support the strategic plan. And for this year, we decided that we would continue building upon the way that the district celebrates academic achievement. We also will continue to focus on parent materials to improve the information and partnership with parents on various topics and programs. We also will support the next phase of the Pathways program. And we are going to be really working hard to develop a comprehensive plan as we implement the change in the New Jersey legislation that bars the use of internet-enabled devices during the school day. We know that this is a big change. We know that there's a lot of different places where we want to best support families and children. So there's a lot of need for communication in that and thoughtful rollout as it starts at the beginning of the next school year. Tony mentioned he has already formed a parent advisory committee, and they'll be meeting this week on Thursday, and that we're getting policy information from SHRSD. Some of it would include how to enforce this change in the legislation and student discipline. We also talked about I spoke about it last month, but I'll give an overview. The Division of Mental Health and Addiction Services puts out a middle school survey every 3 years to gather information about attitudes and use of various substances. And that helps them to determine funding and focus areas. So we will be participating in that survey. We wanted to make sure that parents got a lot of information. There's a parent fact sheet, and then there's a draft email that will go out that explains how the children have the opportunity. The families can opt the child out, but then also students can stop taking the survey at any point or skip questions if there's any questions that make them uncomfortable. This is an anonymous survey, so it's an opportunity for us to gather important information about our students, and we'll get reports back on that, just so that we can look at patterns of behavior and topics that we might want to put in place for a future programming. And we also wanted to make sure that the survey is going to be given during a health class, and it will be done at the same time that the health, the unit on substance use and abuse, so that kids are able to ask questions and have that information available to them. Tony gave us an overview of the Character Strong program, knowing that this was a program that was selected by a committee of teachers and counselors, and it will be implemented next year. This is a strengths-based curriculum for grades kindergarten through 8th grade, and it includes like activities and classroom discussion that really is about teaching and promoting positive behaviors. Additional information is going to go out to the families before the September rollout. So I expect that there'll be a lot more that we'll be working on for that parent-focused materials. And school and community every month has an open agenda item. And in this time, we talked about how we would like to do something to honor the participants in the community classroom. We've had a lot of community members come in and do different presentations for our students. And so we'd like to honor them because they've been generous with their time and their information. So we're looking at how we can do that at an upcoming Board of Education meeting. And that is it. Nothing to move.
Okay, thank you. Before we move on, I do just want to acknowledge everyone's efforts this month in committee. I know the public sees this final meeting, but there's a lot of thoughtful discussion that goes on at the committee level as we move into these meetings, and this month was a really great example of that. So I appreciate everyone's input there as we continue moving through this year. So next up is going to be routine informational items. So we need to accept the harassment, intimidation, and bullying report that was reported on in our executive session in our January meeting. And Peter and Tony, is this a roll call vote or is this a voice vote?
Voice vote.
It's voice vote. Okay. And then we also need to accept the fire drills. So can I get a motion to accept those?
So moved.
So moved.
Okay. I didn't catch who the first one was, but I caught the second was
Say
Ronnie.
Jen and Ronnie.
Okay. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any nays? Okay. So that passes. I think that brings us to our second period of public comment. As before, members of the public are invited to address the board on any issue that you would like. That is why we are here. So if you'd like to address the board, please go ahead and raise your hand.
Anyone, Jeremiah?
Not seeing anybody.
Okay. And there's no more online, just the same.
There's no more online.
No.
Okay, then let's close this period of public comment. We do have a need to go into executive session. We will close the meeting from that executive session Zoom and will not be returning back into the Zoom. I'm correct there? Yes?
Yeah, and
Okay.
no action will be taken.
And no action will be taken in exec session. So with that, can I get a motion to enter executive session?
Just clarification, no action will be taken after executive session. Is that correct?
After, yes.
Correct.
Okay. So moved.
A second?
Second.
Okay, Aaron, Brian. Okay, voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Let's go ahead. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thanks,
Stay
everyone.
warm.
Hoping to see you in
and
person next month.
hopefully, yes.
Strange timing